Howdy y'all, Game Show Reviewer here with some more Atop the Fourth Wall trivia for you. The Sleepwalker storyline is the longest on the show, taking 2 years to complete, and all segments cut together equaling 3 hours in total. Let's have a closer look. The story was always intended as a sequel to the Entity arc, mostly to wrap up Lord Vice, but also to take Linkara to a darker place by removing one of his most valuable assets, namely Kamikron 1, and separating him from his friends. The ending, however, was what ended up being the biggest challenge as far as writing it. There were a bunch of ideas for what to do with the Entity. When Linkara raises the suggestion of the Entity becoming human, that was actually one such idea. Bring on another actor for a new reoccurring character. But it felt too schmaltzy for what we knew of as the Entity. It hated the idea of being anything less than it was. Another idea was to let it die again, but be reborn, some kind of time loop thing where it would try and have new experiences by shedding away what it once was. On that same time loop idea, since it was fixated on games to distract itself from its own existential fears, it was briefly considered for it to go back in time to play the game over again, but that Linkara would outwit it each time it tried to do something different. Now, ultimately, the ending that made it to air was something akin to how it died back in the Electronic Tales of Pikachu, but with a little more of a bittersweet tone about it. You're watching the Atop the Fourth Wall 500th episode live stream celebration. Stay tuned.
Tell you, I don't care who he thinks he is. I'm just supposed to drop everything when he snaps his fingers and kiss his... Linkara! Hello! Mwah! Mwah! That's a European greeting. Everyone, can I take a moment to tell you how very warm, very wonderful, and very real Linkara is? I'm going to tell you a story, and I know this is going to embarrass you, but I have to tell it. We were on the Atop the Fourth Wall movie set, and I stumbled on a line. I gave Linkara the wrong cue, and I thought he was mad at me. Well, we go to craft services later, and his security takes me into a hall and beats the living hell out of me. I mean, blood was everywhere. I thought this was the end. Then, out of the shadows, stepped Linkara, and he said, he's had enough. Linkara saved my life, and that's the kind of very real, very wonderful human being he is. I thank you, sir. You're a national treasure, and quite possibly the second best comic book reviewer I know. Linkara, everyone! Linkara! Oh, what a wonderful human being. All right, call my limo.
And we're back. All right, just taking out the generic logo and pasting reference. There we go. We think one of the problems that we've been having with the choppiness of the stream is the rotating logo in the corner. So hopefully this will help things out a bit.
In other words, I made it too cool for his PC to handle.
Pretty much, yeah. Game Show Reviewer's done a fantastic job with this, but unfortunately my PC is only so good. So when I eventually upgrade this thing, when I eventually do start doing the gaming streams, which I hope to do at some point, yeah, we're going to upgrade this thing. So, for those of you just joining us, my voice is mostly shot. And this is just a celebration live stream. We're just having fun, answering questions, showing old episodes, showing trivia. Please don't promote your own stuff in the chat unless you're paying to do so. Does Linksano have loved ones he left behind? That is an interesting question, which we will answer in the Christmas storyline this year. So look forward to that.
Also, one other thing for the live chat, let's try to keep emojis down to 3. That'll help save on bandwidth a little bit.
Yeah.
That's something I've seen elsewhere, so just a heads up.
Upgrade your PC so it is unlimited power.
Do you have unlimited cash to support that?
Not really, no. But already it looks better because it's not as choppy. Well, at least on my side, it's not choppy.
Same here.
How does it look in the actual chat window? I closed Firefox to because that was eating up memory.
I can tell you this right now. It's a lot clearer. It's a lot cleaner. There's a lot less choppiness.
Yay! And we have to do that for every page of this in OBS.
Which I actually think you already got. except for like one or two.
All right. I want to say you are doing an awesome job and keep it up. Thank you, DeKayland. Son of Linkstano, my mother says, hi, Linkara. Hi, Gary Matrix's mother. Will Eliza the Foam Lizard come back? Yes, she will. Again, Christmas storyline.
There was a super chat one up there earlier. What's the process for title cards?
Mostly I tell Al, Dr. Crafty, what I want, what comic I'm reviewing, give him a general plot synopsis, some problems that I'll have, and then he comes up with something himself. Sometimes I'll give recommendations for stuff he can do for it, but mostly it's all on his own initiative. Autogar asks, how far do you plan ahead for storylines? It varies. We've basically mapped out the entire Contest of Champions storyline and like the story beats and how it's going to play out. I just haven't written all the scripts for it yet. If Vega asks, would you take her to BronyCon? Yes, but I'd have to afford it, which is also a problem. Even with all us boners? I'm assuming that's supposed to be, you'd say, sponsors. And I'm sorry again about my voice. You know, that's delayed everything with the episode. And I was able to record a lot last night. I was able to record about 90% through part 2 of the 500th episode. I was going to record part 3 tonight after the stream. I don't think that's going to happen. But hey, I think I'm still on track for getting everything ready for the 500th on Wednesday. Worst case scenario, we'll at least get part 1. Will you do more crossover stuff with SF Debris? I'd like to. I'd like to do a full-on crossover with SF Debris. The one thing that I really wanted to do with him is the remake of the Andromeda Strain, because the original movie I love, and the remake was garbage. I have a few ideas for Top Fourth Wall comics. Would you sanction such a project? Would you be interested in reading the scripts if I send them to the PL box? Feel free to do so. Any unofficial comics you want to make, go right ahead. You don't need my permission. Unfortunately, I don't have Firefox open. I can't scroll up. Did you see what the orange super chat was?
Yeah, stand by. Here's something strong. Here's something toward that stronger PC. Hope you feel better, Linkara. Congrats on 10 years, 500 episodes. That was $30.
Thank you so much. Thank any of you who are either here or contributing with the super chat stuff, because holy crap, guys, the fact that anyone is willing to contribute money to this, silly little show about comic reviews is just so humbling for me, and I can't appreciate you and thank you enough. So, thanks. Will we ever do another alternate universe version of Linkara, say the darkest timeline version, something else of that nature? Probably. I don't know. I want to take a break from alternate universe stuff for a little bit. After Contest of Champions, because I feel like we've done a lot of parallel universe stuff as of late. I want to keep playing around with different storyline archetypes and not just have some hitting similar beats each time. Maybe I want to reopen Firefox and hopefully the memory won't crash or anything like that.
Another super chat one. What would you say is your favorite-ish Godzilla movie?
Probably, I want to say it was Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. It was the one with the storyline about the lady who wanted her revenge against Godzilla. I think that is my favorite Godzilla movie because I thought the storyline was just so good. And and my second favorite is I want to say it's called Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, the remake from the 90s. Because that one is just phenomenally insane. It involves time travel, undoing Godzilla, redoing Godzilla, Mecha Ghidra, just fantastic stuff, and I love it.
One more super chat. You've said that Batman hasn't had a good music issue since you've heard of Batman number 224, Carnival of the Cursed. It's about Batman avenging a blind musician.
Ooh, that might be fun to look at. You've been a huge inspiration to me. Thanks. Thank you. And let's watch. I'm new to your channel. Now you can call me a new sub. I will call you a new sub. Let's watch. So, have you heard of the new Ultraman manga and will you review it? It is amazing. Well, if it's amazing, then I probably shouldn't review it because, the focus of the show is supposed to be on bad comics. I know we're not always successful in that regard, but it is the intention. So
Welcome
TV shows
to Atop the Fourth Wall, where good comics are reviewed.
Are there any you are not even trying to keep up on? Unfortunately, I'm not keeping up on any of the superhero shows like Flash or Supergirl or anything like that. Eventually I will, especially because fans have seen fit to donate me DVDs, and now I have Netflix. So, yeah, it'll probably happen eventually. We're going to go another 10 minutes of questions and then play another episode because I'm going to need a bathroom break soon. This is like my third water bottle. Got a favorite alien race from all sci-fi comics? Probably the Borg. Love the Borg. Voyager did not do them right, well, for the most part. But I love the idea of the Borg. I love the look of the Borg. I love the look of their ships. I love their ideology. Well, I mean, not like a personal ideology, but I like them as an alien race. So, there you go. Let's see. Just realized the Dom is subscribed to Linkara. Does that make the Dom Linkara sub? If you considered a down-to-earth storyline, like a murder investigation, something, love your storylines. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I had an idea a few years ago for a multi-part integrated storyline where each part of the storyline follows a different cast member of Atop the Fourth Wall, and the idea being that each segment would be interconnected and all brought together in the end. It would be called like Linkara story, Harvey story, 90s kid story. Never went through with it, but it might be something I do down the line.
A couple of super chat questions came through. I don't know if you can scroll up yet.
I can, but actually what's even better is that it actually has a super chat thing on here in the live stream dashboard. From one audio fan to another, what are your thoughts on my favorite Doctor Who companion, Evelyn Smythe? I love Evelyn Smythe. I thought she was a great counterpoint to the Sixth Doctor and his boisterous personality. Yeah, just liked her. She was good. Congrats on 500. Thanks for entertaining me since 2013. I hope this helps. It does, so thank you. Happy to contribute one of my favorite producers. I learned a lot of comics simply through you. Here's for another 10 years, maybe. Here's hoping. Any particular comic you always wanted to review? Not really, because the thing is, since it's my show, if I want to do it, I'll do it. Will you be doing more Pokemon manga reviews? Most likely, yes. Definitely one this year for the 10th anniversary stuff. In the future, I don't have anything immediately planned, but chances are good we'll do another one, because I like Pokemon.
Where did the name Comicron 1 come from?
It was a fan suggestion. There were a lot of fan suggestions for names, and I held a poll on the old blog, and Vigilant actually won. But I liked the name Comicron 1 so much more, which won second place, that I kind of just did executive authority and made Comicron 1 the name, and then Vigilant became the name of the scout ship. So that was me being kind of an asshole, and I will acknowledge that I was an asshole on that. But let's face it, Comicron 1 was a better name.
And as you said in the movie, yes, but it's not their ship, now is it?
You were so cool, and Cameron, and
congrats, I think.
Congrats. Yeah, the chat in the OBS menu is a little bit smaller. So cool, and congrats on 500. And do you like the Orville? Answered that earlier. I haven't watched any of it. Yeah, when eventually the stream gets posted up on YouTube, you'll be able to see my answer there. Least favorite Doctor? Probably 5. 5 is the nicest of the Doctors, and as a result, he doesn't have that same kind of extroverted personality that I really like about the Doctor. What's your favorite Batman idea? I like the heroic Bat villains. I I like that all of his villains are basically that are basically damaged people, and that ultimately it does want to help them. Even the Joker, to a degree, he wants to help and would love to see him get cured. He doesn't think it's ever going to happen, but he definitely wants to help him. Happy to see you glowing even after all this time. Also, when will Comic-Con 1 turn into a Megazord? It's been years, man. I wanted to do Comic-Con 1 Megazord for Contest of Champions, but you were not. But CJ, the game show reviewer, who is here with us now, if you're just joining us, he is my VFX guy. And unfortunately, we're not gonna. It's too complicated to do in the limited time we had to do it.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks. That's that one's on me.
It'll happen eventually, because I have instructed you to do it.
Yes, you have.
But right now we can't do it just because it's too complicated a model.
Yeah, I basically have to take the thing apart in order to put it back together as a Megazord.
Yeah. Other than the Titans, who was your favorite superhero? I mean, aside from Danny Chase, I think you mean. Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes. Do you have any advice for a wannabe reviewer such as myself? Always be even if you're not funny, be entertaining. Command the audience's attention. Speak confidently. If you make a mistake, admit it, apologize, and move on. But especially admit it and promise to do better. Apologies go a long way, as we have seen in recent times.
Do you mind if I answer a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, someone asked me, in universe, what led to the creation of Tempest 1 over on the Game Show Reviewer? That was in universe. I'm just going to say some random organization started working on it. Some random organization just decided, hey, let's see if this works. It, as you've seen on the show, it obviously didn't work exactly as it should have.
Could you please review the Gundam The Origin manga? I would love to, because I haven't actually done any real Gundam stuff on the show aside from the Gundam Bridge April Fool's video. And I'm sorry I missed your previous Super Chat, Terror of Death. It happens. I've only just now discovered the Super Chat menu in the dashboard, so that's helping me keep track of this. Golden Age or Silver Age? Silver Age, because it's wackier. What are your thoughts on Thor Ragnarok? Absolutely freaking loved it. Saw it 3 times in the theaters, which I do not do very often. Mind you, that's because other people hadn't seen it, so we just took them to it. But it was just a blast. Loved it each time. Loved Immigrant Song. Loved the jokes. I thought the emotional bits were good. I think we should disband the Revengers.
So someone asked, can Poyo join us for the live stream? Look over Lewis's shoulder. He's there.
Yeah, he's kind of in the back there on the shelf. Watching your show always brightens my day, especially my bad days. Thank you so much for helping me out. Thank you, Alexander. Favorite Weird Al song or album? I want to say Even Worse, if only because that was the original Weird Al album I heard. I don't know if I have necessarily a favorite song because I love most of his songs, especially love the polkas. Who are the best characters in Marvel? Squirrel Girl, Deadpool, Miss Marvel. There we go. Oh, Kid Kaiju, like him. If you do Comic-Con Megazord, use a cover of Go Fly Win. Yeah, I can see doing that. Do you collect action figures? No, I do not. My brother collects action figures. He's big on that. I'm more about prop stuff since I can use it in the show. Will you be bringing any Action Lab comics? Probably. I can't remember. Did Action Lab do the Puppet Master comics? Because I've done those on Longbox. Speaking of, we're going to play a Longbox episode in about a minute or so while I go to the bathroom. Just to spice things up here and not just play Atop the Fourth Wall, even though this is for the 500th episode, which we'll probably switch over to something similar in a little bit afterwards. Does any chance Linkara has an opinion on 3 different Jokers thing from when Batman sat in the God chair? Have they done anything with that yet? Like they've suggested that's a thing, but they haven't actually done anything with it yet, as far as I know. Congratulations on the milestone. You're a huge influence on my own Caught in the Making. Where did the name Comicron 1 come from? I actually answered that a little bit earlier. So you can look back on the stream in a little bit, like 5-10 minutes ago, and then we'll have that. Favorite MST3K skit? Either it's a toss-up between Crow as the Screaming Skull or the Pina Colada song breakdown. Do you play Star Trek Online? Yes, I do, but very infrequently. Mostly when they do storyline updates, which I know they got a big expansion coming soon, which I will be playing because that looks like, because I can't remember what was in it, but it looked like fun. Happy anniversary. Here's the 500 more. Avengers Arena ruins everything. Yes, it does. All right, we're going to switch over to an episode now so I can go to the bathroom. So, let's enjoy some Long Box of the Damned.
Howdy y'all, Game Show Reviewer here with yet another card and more Atop the Fourth Wall trivia for you. The appearance of the King of Worms was cobbled together about an hour before filming with it began. Let's take a closer look. It took a while to coalesce a bunch of random ideas into something that would be workable. The first being that had to be played up was the platinum mask thing in the poem, so it would make sense that it would have some sort of platinum mask. But what was to be on the mask wasn't quite clear, and a blank mask was just too simple for it. So the first thought was to add some eye holes, but that just seemed too cheap. Maybe a single eye hole or a Halloween eyeball stuck in the center of it or something. Just something to indicate it wasn't human. Referring back to how the entity is based off the missing number glitch from Pokemon, there are certain variations of the glitch where, instead of the pixel static that should appear, it'd be the sprite for a ghost from Lavender Town. And that thing is terrifying as all hell. So a face similar to that was carved out of the mask, reasoning that the form is a cousin to missing number. But then there was the rest of the outfit. Initially, since the storyline involves Cybermats running amok, maybe some kind of chess piece similar to the Cybermen in Doctor Who could be crafted. So a cardboard box that was lying around was painted black, add on some tubes and blinking lights, and it looked awful. So back to the drawing board. A recent screening of Alien had reminded Lewis that the inspiration for the Xenomorphs had come from H.R. Geiger's designs, so following that line of thinking, other Geiger designs were looked at to see what other terrors he created. And while nothing really fit the concept for the King, it was noticed that a lot of his designs featured ribbed tubes. He used that idea a lot in his art, and since there were a ton of those things lying around, they were used in the King's costume. In addition, a Borg costume originally slated for use in the Star Trek First Contact review was available, so parts of that were taken and put on Will, plus more tubes around the whole thing, some Halloween store knitted fabric to resemble shredded or decaying clothing, and boom, the King of Worms was born. Just goes to show how a lot of desperate elements can come together. Oh, right, and in case you're wondering about that chess piece I mentioned, it was repurposed too. You can see it right there as those computer terminals behind Lord Vice. And everything's recycled in this show. You're watching the Atop the Fourth Wall 500th episode live stream celebration. Stay tuned.
And we're back. So, got a $50 super chat here, which I think definitely deserves some attention to talking. I have 2 teen boys, and no one in their generation reads Western comics. It is all anime. What does that say about the future of Marvel/DC/Western comics? It's depressing, but, it is true that, some people just are not interested in comics, and they're interested in other stuff. I would like to hope that the industry could survive, but there are things that need to be done to help save it. In particular, appealing more to kids, getting them hooked on superheroes from the start, making it easier for kids to get access to comics, especially making more stuff digital, because kids these days, read on tablets. A lot of them aren't going into comic book stores to pick up their stuff. I mean, if they do, they're being brought out for Free Comic Book Day and the like. But they need to. Free Comic Book Day was yesterday, in fact. But comic companies need to stop trying to just appeal to the older fan base and realize that the next generation of comic fans is not coming in to replace them. More vertical integration with the TV show. More vertical integration with the TV shows and movies. Take advantage of that, because that's where you're getting your new audience for superhero stuff. Any plans for another crossover with Erod? I can neither confirm nor deny nothing. And yes, this better archive, considering I realized earlier in the stream that I had forgotten to hit start recording. The good news about YouTube is that it's much better about capturing this stuff, it seems. Yeah, I'm an idiot.
The bad news is that those breaks in the live stream that might have actually been caught earlier will also show up as well in the YouTube archive.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably be downloading these and editing them down just to remove the old episodes being displayed as well. Happy 500. Love seeing my Cyberman on your shelf. Thank you, Rose Psyche. Any advice on how to make my comic series engaging? Well, I'd have to read your comic to give specific advice. General stuff is like, keep to a schedule, give us reasons to care about your characters, etc., etc. We're going to go for another 10 minutes of Q&A and whatnot, and then we will move on to another Atop the Fourth Wall episode. And for those of you just joining us, my throat is out of it, and that's why the 500th episode is not being posted tomorrow, but on Wednesday. Sorry about that. It's just, it happens. How's married life? It's pretty good. I like it. Why hasn't Linkara kicked Morarte out yet? For that, you'll have to see the Long Box of the Damned movie when we produce that. And yes, the script for that is finished, and we're, working on stuff with it. Will you be reviewing more Atomic Robo comics? That was a Patreon-sponsored review. I try to focus the stuff where I specifically choose the comics to either be bad or stuff that I think will be interesting to talk about. Watch OKKO. I have not. Let's see. Have I read the Overwatch comics? No, I have not. Most of my love for Overwatch is mostly for the game itself and not for a lot of the enhanced storyline stuff. I should probably get around to watching that because I eventually did that for the TF2 stuff. Okay, what is the big difference between comics and the Franco-Belgian comics except the look? A lot of it is focus. American comics focus primarily on superhero-related stuff. Franco-Belgian stuff, if I know of it, is not focused on superhero stuff. Every other comic publisher out there publishes more than just superheroes. The American industry, unless you're an independent, most of the stuff you put out is superheroes. Indies, it's all over the place. What do you think of Spider-Man Crawl Space? Have not seen it or read it. Some of us here are cunning linguists, but it's good to have your voice back. Will I ever cover Rebirth comics? Yeah, probably. Most of the Rebirth stuff I liked, so nothing was like that I saw was bad enough to do that. I have heard of Hunter x Hunter, but only the name. Favorite live-action Spider-Man or maybe voice actor? Mine is Toby. I just prefer the more mature and older Peter to the very overdone young kid. I like 90s animated series Spider-Man. I felt he was he balanced mature and still the Peter Parker tendency to screw up his life much, much better, and it felt like his character had really grown throughout the course of the series. What are your thoughts on the God of War series? I have no thoughts on the God of War series because I have never played a single one. You skipped a question of mine. Are you caught up in Steven Universe? I also, are you caught up in Steven Universe? Sorry if I missed your earlier question. It's only recently that I'm able to just access the super chat in a big, long menu thing. I am caught up on Steven Universe, and if Stan Lee was to make a cameo in your show, where would he be? He'd be sitting next to me. Yeah. What do you think of Batman Ninja? I answered earlier in the stream. I haven't seen it yet.
Going back to the Stan Lee thing, my answer would be wherever he wanted to be, because my God, he's making an appearance on my show.
There you go.
Someone asked me earlier if I heard that Double Dare was coming back. Yes, I have, and I am excited.
Was 90s Kid possessed during his review? No, he was not. Him being possessed by the entity happened afterwards. I have no thoughts on Star versus the Forces of Evil because I have not seen it. Hey, Linkara, I enjoy all your work. Thank you, Jorge Sanchez. Have you seen the live-action Spider-Man TV show? Oh, God, I watched that live-action, the one from the 70s. I watched that one so many years ago. I'm not talking about Japanese Spider-Man. The craptacular live-action Spider-Man series from the 70s. So boring. Like, nothing happens in it. There's no supervillains. Like everything looks that kind of bad, brown, boring 70s look. It's just like gangsters. Everyone's wearing tan suits, and you don't know who the hell anybody is. Just so dull. I watched that back in the day, and it was so incredibly boring. I hated it. Personal favorite episode of Atop the Fourth Wall. I have an episode devoted to that. To my top 15 episodes. But the answer is JLA/Titans, the Technus Imperative. After with the Pokemon game, what game will you play next? I don't know yet. We have some ideas. Will has really been pushing me to do the Arkham games. And he thinks that, he can play them and I can provide, like, commentary for Batman knowledge and stuff like that. We'll probably end up doing that.
I'm personally rooting for Elite Force 2.
Well, Patreon has to reach that far.
It's almost there.
No. Can you think of any comics you went into expecting to hate but found yourself exceedingly pleasantly surprised by? Eventually, the Titans book by Judd Winnick started getting decent again, which I expected to continue hating, and yet it started getting good. I was like, oh, okay. What does Vice look like under the helmet? Fabulous. Excuse me, missed this question. Your favorite superhero video game? City of Heroes back in the day I really loved. I bought that one after I was having a really bad day at work, and because I was like, I need to play something that, makes me feel good about the world, and I was just like, and City of Heroes was that game for me. I'm still sad that it got shut down, and I eventually fell out of it, but, that happens with MMOs. I would love to see you play Star Trek Bridge Commander. I mean, you already have the uniform and all. I played a bit of Bridge Commander back in the day. I think I had, like, a pirated copy, because, like, there's maybe, like, one or two missions, and then it crashed on me or something like that. But I love the demo at the very least.
Yes, that is a very fun game. I used to play the living daylights out of that game. I think I killed my PC playing that game once.
A franchise you love but haven't talked about yet. I have not talked about any Stargate comics yet. I'm hoping to do that next year.
You missed one right above that. Why do you still continue making videos and continue evolving your show? Because I have so much respect for you reaching 500 episodes.
2 reasons. 1, because I love doing this. And 2, because I need to pay my rent.
Both very good reasons.
With the seeming decline of angry reviews, not yours, and the rise of video essays, have you considered experimenting with the essay format? Yes, but I just don't enjoy doing the essay format. I don't think I'm smart enough to do it, or at least not do it very well. I like my brand of humor, which is very reactive to breaking down the comic and reactions to stuff in the recap. I much prefer doing my long form review and recap versus the video essays. I'd have to have for me, the video essays also have to have a thesis. And it just feels like I'm doing academic work, and I'm not trying to do academic work. My stuff is supposed to be just like entertaining reviews. I love people who do them, Lindsay and Kyle, and I'm blanking on other people. Just so many talented creators out there who are really good at it. I don't know if I'd be good at it. I got a G drive full of Pokemon games. Will you play? I don't know. It depends on what the games are. Is or was Vice human? Vice was human. When he died, he was a data-based creature. Have you seen the 70s Incredible Hulk series? I've seen episodes on and off. All right, we're going to take a couple more questions because we're about to hit 3 o'clock. Then we're going to switch over to another episode.
Damn it, I just came here with Vintage Poyo.
Oh, hey, Vintage Poyo. Viga's here with the original Poyo model here.
Hey.
which of course, the reason why we don't bust out vintage Pollo, you'll probably notice this, there, paint flakes coming off of him.
Yeah, it's quite old.
It is very old. I made this for...
Behind the scenes of Pollo.
Pollo just has a thing inside of him. That's...
Oh my God, Brazzers logo. We did it.
Oh no, do it again. We'll give people the screenshot. Brazzers. There we go. Yeah, there. Well, you can take it back, considering we're about to switch out for another episode.
I just heard them say, "I wish Pollo was here," and well, I had to bring this down.
There you go. All right. Will you consider reviewing The Killing Joke? I would not be against reviewing The Killing Joke. That would be interesting, either the movie or the original comic. But it would probably have to be Patreon sponsored for that. Anyway, let's switch over to an episode and give my voice a rest.
Hey everyone, Lotus Prince here. I have been following Atop the Fourth Wall since nearly the beginning. Before it was even video format, back when it was written articles with text and pictures. It was fun then, and it is fun now. It's really cool to see just how much the show has evolved, with all sorts of interesting additions like comic book quickies, or PSA Hell, Long Box of the Damned, Miller Time. It's really cool to see whatever content is going to be reviewed next. Congratulations, Lois. You have earned this. And here's to another 500 episodes. And you? Well, you are watching the Atop the Fourth Wall 500th episode Celebration Livestream. Enjoy!
Howdy y'all, Game Show Reviewer here, and I haven't quite run out of trivia yet. How the King of Worms was defeated was finally explained in 2017 as part of the Sleepwalker arc, but there was another idea for it. Let's go to the video. It was known that the Sleepwalker arc would be very, very difficult to pull off, to the point where if the visual effects for it weren't going to work, the whole storyline would be scrapped and a different idea would explain the weird images it saw in Linkara's head. Mostly it would be what a lot of fans had speculated, that the plot hole allowed the king to see into the quote-unquote real world and realize its own fictional existence. With how it actually played out, the king saw representations of Linkara's own mind alongside the entities. The king saw how Linkara had difficulty accepting the weirdness of his life, preferring it all just be something he dreamed up. The plot hole is seen as an excuse for why nothing makes sense, but in reality it's just the world they live in, a world where fictional beings coexist with real ones. He secretly wishes he could just be doing his review show.
We are inside with you! You will never get away! Your brain won't end!
While inspired by the movie Exorcist 3, the lines do have meaning here. Linkara carries with him the memories of all these things he fought. Like trauma, it just doesn't go away. They are inside with him. They threaten to overwhelm him and keep him in pain forever. Lord Vice stabbing him is the entity's fear coupled with Linkara's own. The entity was afraid of Vice in its own way, afraid of losing any more of itself. Linkara had lingering fears about Jairus' loyalties that probably would have been borne out later on, but then he left. Harvey laughing at him was lingering fears of the betrayal that happened right at the end. He knew in his mind Harvey hadn't betrayed him, but subconsciously he was afraid of what had happened. Sleepwalk through eternity is what the entity had begun to realize about itself and its purposelessness. And of course, the entity looking at the audience was the entity fully waking up, realizing what the king was doing, and to keep it secret, killing the king. You're watching the Atop the Fourth Wall 500th episode live stream celebration. Stay tuned.
And we are back. So, let's talk about Hardee's for a second. Hardee's sucks. And the game show reviewer will back me up on this, won't you?
Yes, I will. Hardee's and its alter ego Carl's Jr. They suck.
Hardee's is awful. Mind you, I haven't had Hardee's in forever, mostly because, I didn't like it the last time I had it. But Hardee's was gross and terrible. And yeah. So no, it was not slams against Hardee's out of nowhere. Hardee's is terrible.
Now, I might have actually just hard eased myself out because, I mean, I was going there almost, like weekly, like almost every Sunday at some point. But the last time I was there, it was like eating pure grease and it sucked. I've not been back since.
I mean, I am a fast food connoisseur, as you could probably tell from this terrible stomach I have. But, yeah, screw Hardee's. So, for those of you just joining us, stream's been going for a few hours now. We've been playing episodes. We've been answering questions. My voice is actually starting to feel a little bit better after that nice long break.
Well,
We'll see
let's
how
mess
long
that
that
up.
goes. No, we are not showing the 500th episode on the live stream. The episode has been delayed to Wednesday because I've been having throat problems lately. It finally started getting better last night that allowed me to record all of part 1 again and most of part 2. My voice gave out around like 5 a.m. So yeah, we're going to have it on Wednesday. If not the full thing, then at least 1 or 2 parts of it. And people will and I'm hoping people will still be happy regardless. And we're just having a fun time. In about a half hour, we are going to do some Jackbox games with some other people, including Lupa. And I think Nash is going to join us with that. Don't know yet. We'll try to bring in some more people. I saw that Lotus Prince, who we just saw in the insights, is in the chat. Same for Ryan from Battle Geek Plus. We have his insights later on today. So, let's, and we have Vega coming in here with what I'm using to celebrate the 500th episodes. Let's see if we can get it, like, on the screen here. Yeah, I'll try to show this off here. We got an ice cream cake.
Oh, nice.
Check that out. That 500 written on it.
Ice cream cake sucks.
She does not like ice cream cake, so this is all mine.
This is my magic spell to make it less delicious. I dare you to do that.
No.
I double dog dare you to just take
No, I want to to cut it into slices properly.
Everyone in the chat, double dog dare him. I'm gonna get a knife.
Actually, I'm with Lewis here. Cut the small slice and then eat the rest. Just like Garfield.
So let's, while she's getting a knife for that, I'm going to answer some Super Chat questions. Thoughts on Defenders of the Earth cartoon? Never seen it. I have not seen any of the Avengers cartoons. I really need to. What is 90s Kid and Poyo's origin in universe? Poyo's origin is given on the first DVD. Just to spoil that for you, because, why not? Because you're here anyway. Poyo's origin was that Linkara originally created him to do the reviews, basically as a way of making things easier on him, but his voice box didn't work, so he was like, well, I guess I'll just do them myself. 90s Kid's origin we'll probably see eventually, but I'm keeping that a secret. I got some seaweed.
Good.
Have you considered making a D&D campaign, something like that, out of the lore you made for your story? I feel like it could be cool. It could be. I am no good as like a DM or anything like that for D&D stuff. Let's go about yay big.
Do you want footage of the cutting?
Yeah, so let's try to put this on screen here. Yep.
How am I gonna cut it?
Well, you can't cut it all the way, but like you can see knife stabbing into the thing. There you go.
It's ice cream cake, so it's hard. No, you couldn't just be like, let's have some regular cake.
No.
No, you had to have murder cake.
I feel you don't use enough varied music during the title cards. Lots of song arts I'd like you to use, too, especially. Are you a fan of Simon and Garfunkel or Little River Band? Also, thanks for introing me to Night Swimming. I am a fan of Simon and Garfunkel. I don't know enough of their songs, I think, that'll match up with a lot of videos that I would hope for. And I have never listened to Little River Band, unfortunately. Will you possibly sell your old props? I want Poyo. Stuff like Poyo, no. I got to keep that for posterity.
I'm gonna need some of your muscle.
I guess I got to cut this. Read me the next question. In the super chat there, like that.
Okay. Where can I find information about the do's and don'ts of comic book reviewing? What can I show, say, etc.? Is it all a gray area or just fair use?
It's very much a gray area. Fair use is not a legal doctrine beyond a defense in court. So basically, it's entirely possible that what I do is entirely illegal. So there is no hard and fast guide. You just gotta do what you feel is right. Now I gotta actually get this piece off of here. Yep.
That reminds me.
Cake sucks. It takes 2 people just to deal with it.
I can do this on my own. It's easier to do it with another person.
Oh,
The-
so you want me to go then?
No, I know. Like I said, it's easier with 2 people, but
The idea, the secret is you have to leave it out for about 5 minutes.
I just took it out the freezer just now.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't care. I wanted it. It's mine.
That's all yours. Screw ice cream cake.
Damn right, it's all mine.
Ice cream cake sucks.
CJ, keep reading me some super chat questions.
Sure thing. That reminds me, will we ever hear Mirakara's long story involving Snowflame and some ice cream cake?
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know how some people use flour in their cakes?
Like normal people?
Now, what do you think Snowflame used for his cake?
Oh, man.
There we go.
Ouch. All right, next one. Is 90s Kid and Harvey dimensional counterparts of Linkara?
No, they are not. In universe, they don't actually look like Linkara, although I have made a joke about that in the Atop the Fourth Wall movie.
Did you watch Voltron Legendary Defender or the Marvel Netflix series?
I did not. If you want to, you could. Whoop, you okay? Okay, you could put that away again now because because we don't want it to melt all over my desk.
I do.
All right, let me scroll up a bit. I'm gonna let this thaw a little bit before we go to our next video. Have you seen TFS D&D streams? Yes, I have. I've only watched like the first 2 or 3. They were very good. I gotta watch more of them. Let's see, the Marvel Netflix series. I haven't watched any of the Marvel Netflix series. Any thoughts on Dan Slott's Amazing Spider-Man Go Down Swingin'? Haven't read it. A lot of more recent Spider-Man I have not read, and bear in mind, my thing was with One More Day is I won't buy them. I'll still read them because I can still read them in the shop and stuff. Are you disappointed that the Turn Titans book is being canceled in the wake of Justice League No Justice? Yes! I'm very disappointed. I love that book. Well, I don't know if it's being canceled, but they're changing up the lineup, and that's stupid. The lineup is good. Damn it. I mean, all these characters that they're bringing in for the new Titans team, they're good characters, but this always happens. This editorial mandate bullcrap pisses me off, people.
To the point where you lose your voice.
The question I wanted to ask earlier was a Pokeball the first item Linkara enchanted? Also, why Combine Harvester? I don't think I've decided what the first item Linkara enchanted was. It might have been the Pokeball, yeah, because he caught Pyramid Head with that. I want to say there was something else beforehand, but it was probably that. Why Combine Harvester? There's something wonderfully goofy about it that I just love, and I thought it would make a great Sanity Slippage song. Someone had asked earlier where I first heard it. I heard it on like a movie clip where it was used. I can't remember the name. Evil Aliens, I think, was the name of the movie, where a guy uses a combine harvester to kill a bunch of aliens in a field, and it was glorious. I know from the Freddy and Thing reviews that you are a fan of those franchises. What other horror movies do you like? Like Hellraiser. Exorcist 3 is my favorite horror movie of all time. Let's see. I like the Saw movies. Well, she got me into those. Saw borders on horror because it's more about the long-term story and the soap opera antics and the apprehension of it. I tend to like supernatural horror more than I like any other kind. I like The Conjuring. I like both Sinister movies, though Sinister 2 is not as good. I have not seen Conjuring 2 or Annabelle. I still need to see those. I saw the first Insidious. It was just okay. I like Friday the 13th. Halloween I've never been as into. It's okay, but it's just not my thing because, again, I like the supernatural stuff, and Michael Myers is supposed to be a regular person. And Jason Voorhees is basically a zombie. I thought about reviewing a Masked Rider comic. I'll probably end up doing a Masked Rider comic at some point. What about the shows?
Yeah. I want to know personally the answer to this. Why do you have so many tricorders out of universe?
Long story short, I went on an eBay buying spree when I first got started and started making money off the show, and I eventually came across like tricorders that were like custom, and I was like, wow, that's so cool, I gotta have this, and wow, this one's so cool. And then there was like the $400 one, which is made, I can't remember the maker, like Roddenberry.com, which has all the cool sounds and lights and blinking stuff like that. I bought like one that I was going to build myself because I was more into prop making at the time, and I never got around to building it. What is your supervillain name? The Dread Q-Pig. Love Hog, Cupid, Q-Pig, there you go. Where did Linkara get the magic gun? Also explained in the first DVD. Basically, a crazy man goes up to him and gives it to him. The implication being that the magic gun drove him mad, kind of similar to what happened in the Silent Hill Dead Alive reviews. Flash Gordon, Phantom, and Mandrake are defenders. Cool. Did the King of Worms showing up after Linkara read about him have more to it, or am I reading too much into it? Reading too much into it. Basically, I did it there to set him up because I realized that I wasn't going to be able to do the Sleepwalker storyline right after Ghost of the Machine, so I needed a storyline in between there. So I came up with the King of Worms, and I set him up as a red herring in Ghost of the Machine, and then just did the arc, which it was supposed to be just a filler arc, but it actually turned out pretty dang well, and people liked it. Do you think the DC films should just focus on standalone films and maybe do a crossover sometime? Yes. Avengers had a few movies under its belt before they started, crossing everybody over, and the same should have been the case for DC. Mind you, I don't think it would have helped that much considering, even as an introduction for Batman in it, and, Batman v Superman just having two, the story itself I still didn't like. It still wasn't a good movie, in my opinion. All right, we'll take one or so more questions. I'm going to eat this, and then when we come back, we'll probably do some Jackbox games with people. Let's see, I don't think we have any more Super Chats. So...
No, but I'm noticing that a lot of the people are commenting that you've ruined the theme song for them. He didn't actually purchase the magic gun. The song is a lie.
Hey. They ask where did I purchase that, not if I purchased that.
Very good.
I'll bet the 500th episode will be Watchmen. No. All right, we'll be right back with Jackbox, but first, eat the cake on camera. There, here we go. And I did a DC earlier. Let's do a Marvel.